we've got one more segment left. The most exciting segment. Alex is super excited. Everybody's excited. We've got decks that are new that you've never seen before, or hopefully you've never seen before. We got our 4 cost segment coming up where we're going to introduce some brand new pilots and brand new leaders to y'all. Welcome to our 4 cost segment. This is like our for fun segment. This is what we do when we want to have fun. And this is partially why we invited too many Hans on. Not because they were building Han decks for us, thank God, but because they you should have built a Han deck for them. But because we wanted to go over like some new decks, some new pilots, and kind of talk a little bit about whether we think some of these pilots are viable in the meta. We will do in 2 weeks. We will, once they've revealed all the leaders, we will do like a leader ranking. I always find those fun. JJ better not have any time off because every time we've done a leader ranking, somehow JJ's never here, like miraculously, because I don't think he wants. Because that one time he was on one of them when we gave you a whole bunch of shit for one of your things, I think he's avoided us ever since then. But so tonight we're going to go over some brand new lists that we've all built. We each built one list that we're going to review tonight. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to start with my list, and then we'll kick it over to Sam, and Sam's going to kind of give us a rundown of his list. And I put those two together because they're obviously going to be paralleling each other in the meta. So I created a Vader triple dark raid deck. I went with a 30 health base for now because I built this before the 27 health base came out. I don't know if I choose the 27 health base. Honestly, I don't know if I care that much for it. But essentially, my deck has 3 of the First Order ties, 3 Bounty Hunters Query, 2 bombers, 2 of the TIE bombers. I am now going to try the Prepare for Flight. And I'll explain play for takeoff. And I'll explain why in a minute, because I'm kind of high on that card right now. With the stuff coming up, and I'm excited for it. I also have 2 ramparts, and you're all good. We made fun of this card. I think we made fun of this card.
You did. I didn't.
When this came out, but I think I found a way to fix that. Like, there's a way to fix that. But I also have I can't read the 2
backstabbers.
Is that who it is?
I can't. Yeah, it's Wingman Victor 2. That's Backstabber.
There we go. 2 surprise strikes, 2 sneak attacks, 3 waylays. Because I'm going for very full Imperial synergy, I threw 2 Veers in, 3 of the 7th Fleet Defenders, 3 TIE Phantoms, 3 of the new Vader bomber. I call it that because that's really
Victor leader.
That's Vader's ship there.
TIE Advance, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It's not about TIE Advance. And then we have 3 triple dark raids, 3 resupplies, 2 of the other guy that I don't know.
Mauler Mythal.
Maulers, there you go. 2 TIE Advance, 3 of the shuttles, that is the Krennic shuttle, 2 of the quasi TIE carriers, 2 of the acquaintance. I don't know how you say that word. Acquaintance. Thank you.
Yeah,
those are really fun, by the way. If you play Armada, those are super fun in Armada.
Yeah,
to fly. And 2 reinforcement walkers. In my sideboard, I have the new target card, 3 of those, 2 of the shoot first, 3 swoop downs, and that's kind of a placeholder right now. I don't know if I really need those or not. I have 2 Cobb Vanth, 2 of the No Good to Be Deads, and then 2 Moth Tarkins. So the idea obviously is the triple dark raid. I don't know how well this works or not, but the idea is you're able to spam units and have more units out on your board. So like the Bounty Hunters queries can work very well, especially because we're going to have a lot of people doing indirect damage. And indirect damage is going around, so people might be a little scared. You put that out, they don't know what you got. I'm trying those prepare for takeoff cards because you get to draw vehicles, right? And so like it's like I think you get 2 of them, correct?
Yeah, you get
so you're
vehicles.
you could kind of go around the people that are like discarding cards from your hand by being able to play that card. Now, I guess if they strip that card, you're just out of luck. But but like if you could play that card and you could pick up more vehicles with that. And because of some of the way that you can add, like with the tie advances and some of these other things, you can add the stuff to that rampart. But you can pull that rampart with a sneak attack, right? And that thing will come in ready. And then it could do the 3 damage. And yeah, it's still a 2-cost thing, but that's kind of a way around it. You can also upgrade it now. So I have not a ton of upgrades because I'm not super sold on upgrades. But I do believe like being able to put the Mauler boys in the game was super fun. And this kind of reminds me of like my Empire list from X-Wing. So that's partially why I created it. So there's a lot of token generation with Vader. There is some indirect damage that can be done. The Bounty Hunter's Quarry is there. You get the First Order TIE Fighter, which is really cool because you could play that. Turn 1, play a Bounty Hunter's Quarry, and then like next turn after you attack with it, you can literally just put another token unit on the board, and like so it, even though it doesn't have a lot of health, like it could you can use Vader to help build up that piece of it. So, thoughts? You're all open to thoughts, suggestions, telling me I'm crazy.
For me, the only thing I would probably consider is just adding a little more Sentinel on the space side, just to protect your Victor Leader card, to allow you to at least have a time to deploy your pilot onto there. That's the only thing I would suggest. But beyond that, I like it a lot. It's a very nice space heavy deck. Definitely has a lot of great options there for your units to get on there and do some serious damage on there. But it does need that Sentinel piece just to just help protect you for those turns that you absolutely need to bring in your pilots in.
You also probably don't have enough low drops. Like, you don't really want to play like Backstabber as just a 3/2 ground unit, and like Rampart's not doing anything at all for the first turn, right? So like you effectively have 5 first turn plays. But I'll give you like some more for the Bounty Hunter's Quarry. I guess that's kind of useful. But like if you don't hit like a vehicle off at the beginning, like if you have to play like Backstabber as a ground unit off, like you're not getting any of your TIE Fighter generation with Darth Vader and stuff. And you have to wait another turn to start generating things, and then if they actually take control of space, it just kind of, you don't have a lot of health in space. But no, I mean the end game's nice. And also, like, triple dark rating one of those Arquintons is very nice because they ramp off of whatever they have there.
Yeah, and that was kind of the idea with that. Like it's a low enough cost you can actually utilize that with it, which I was surprised about.
And play it at 6 resources.
Yep. So, and it's going to kill something immediately. So,
more pilots, maybe. Why not?
Yeah.
Cell block guard to be good in this too, just to have some, or just at least 1 or 2 units that are sentinel on the ground, because it's so ground light. You have 2 units that are meant to be played on ground. It's just that you're going to be taking in all that damage regardless, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot that can block it other than indirect damage.
Yeah, and that's why that's what the swoop downs are in there for. But the other thing was I was debating on outmaneuvers. I didn't know if outmaneuver would be good in this deck as well. Just as a way to stop the ground.
Probably as a sideboard, right? And then you just react to your opponent's deck.
I'm not sure what the sneak attacks are really doing.
Probably nothing, Jay or Alex, but they're fun, and I like sneak attack. It's just there. Those are probably we can just easily cut those. Actually, I'd probably rather have another surprise attack or surprise strike. Honestly.
But yeah, like, if you get the token generation off, it seems kind of annoying to go against. They're going to kill your Veers like immediately, though. Nothing protecting him. But yeah, I mean, it's a start.
All right, Sam, you're up next. You've got rebellions are built on fighters in all caps because I guess he's a fighter. Luke's a fighter.
Yeah, he's got
Lots
the
of fighters.
fighter decks. Yeah,
All
so
right.
I built this deck a lot on just I love red-green heroism. So I'm like, I'm gonna throw ECL on there just because Sabine does it. A lot of the good decks do it. I might as well. So I got Luke 2 and ECL. I've got Alliance Dispatcher, R2 2 because it's the new one. I've got Trench Run, or I should be saying quantities. I got 3 of all these so far. 3 Timelies, 3. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to pull up Swooty Bee
Frisk.
because I have no idea how to say that name sometimes.
It's just Frisk. He just
Yeah.
takes off upgrades, which is funny because he frisks upgrades off people.
And then I got 3 Battlefield Marines, 3 Anakin's Interceptors. I've got 3 Red Squadron A-Wings. Let's see, I got 3 Blue Leaders. I got 3 big Dark Fighters. Oh my gosh. I got
Starfighter would be appropriate for this deck, though.
yeah, it's true. 3 Red 3s, 3 Red 5s, 3 Resupply, 3 Blue Leaders, 2 Chewies, and 3 Adelphi A-Wings. Or 3 Adelphi Patrol Wings, my bad.
I think he also passed over the 3 Sparkle Hoves and the 3 Red Squadron Y-Wings.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see that on here. Oh, yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
And then in the sideboard, I've got 3 Confiscates. I got 3 Smuggler's Aids, an extra Chewy, and I got 3 ETA 2 Light Interceptors. It's a huge, just heavy deck on space. I've got a few to balance it out, like Battlefield Marine if I need to ECL that in or timely it. I've got my pilots, Frisk, Biggs, and Chewy, and R2, Alliance Dispatcher, and Resupply and Spark, just so I can ramp as much as possible to get Adelphi and Luke out quick. I want to just be throwing in a lot of units to kind of counter control because that's what I really feel like I do horrible against is Merciless Contest and Power of the Dark Side. I'm always going up against, so flooding the board is best. You can do a lot of good piloting things with this deck, like throwing out Green Squadron or Anakin's first and then putting Biggs or Frisk on there. Even without their abilities, there's still just extra buffs, and you just keep hitting, keep dealing extra damage to different units on the base. And eventually, when you get Luke out, preferably put him on a Red 5 and then just keep doing his combo. But it really works well that you don't have to set up one specific combo. You can just do a variety, and they all work well that way. What do you think?
I mean, I know it's like all in on space, right? So just like hopefully you just have enough damage in your space units to outpace them if they're running a bunch of ground units. Because I mean, the Battlefield Marine does 3 damage, but anything other than that doesn't really do too much. But like, I mean, it seems solid. It's a bunch of fighters. It's a bunch of just buffs. Right, and I guess Blue Leader can also be kind of a ground unit as well, which is cool. And like the timelies are nice tempo plays, and the trench runs and stuff. Like it's a pretty neat, quick aggro. I'm not sure about the math on the Spark of Hope relative to the cost of your units, but they're all pretty cheap, so you're probably good on that. Maybe the resupplies are just a little bit too slow. That's all my only thought.
Yeah, I don't know if you need 3 sets of ramp. If it were me, I would probably dump one of the 2 of them. That's probably what I would do.
Like you already have Alliance Dispatcher too,
Yeah.
so like that saves you another cost.
Yeah, for me, honestly, like the resupply, I would sacrifice and put in a wedge in there, mainly because he serves as a passive sentinel, right? Because your opponent doesn't want to have a ground unit there that's going to further buff your space units, especially if you're very space heavy. So they're going to naturally want to attack wedge on the ground to ensure that the incoming attacks from the space side don't do as much damage on there. So that'll be my change on there. Maybe even Dodana as well, since you have a pretty good amount of rebel units on there as well. But less so. I'll probably go more with wedge.
I don't like Dodonna. I'm sorry, I don't like Dodonna in this build because by the time Dodonna comes out, like it's just a win more card. If you haven't like done a bunch of damage, like I like the idea behind the deck because it's saying I want to play more units on a lower side of it, and I do like that piece of it. Like I think that's really good. For it, it's hilarious. You have one set of upgrades in there. Oh, I'm sorry. You have two sets. You have bigs. You do have bigs in there. Okay, so you have two sets of upgrades. So,
Well, like Chewie, like you got Frisk, Biggs, Chewie, and R2D2.
oh, that's true. That isn't the original R2D2. That's who I thought that was.
Oh no, I mean like the
Yeah, it's
R2D2 is kind of weird because like it just means you attach another pilot, so like it's not really
It's thematic.
a pilot that you're putting on there. It's just a +1/+1 upgrade essentially for free. Don't get me wrong, it's nice, but
It's thematic, baby.
yeah, I mean you could put it on Red 3 and then or Red 5 and also put Luke on Red 5. You know,
Yeah.
do whatever you want. So
Flies
that's
into
a
the other.
super thematic, and then play the trench run and then blow up.
Yeah. I think my thing would be is I would drop. I don't think you need that much ramp. I don't think that's what you want to do in this deck. I don't think 6 ramp cards are where I would go with it.
Because the ramp just lets you play more units, but
Yeah.
like eventually your hand just doesn't have cards to play.
If it were me, I would be playing Bounty Hunter's Query in this deck. But that's just me.
True.
And that's what?
I was gonna say you do have like ambush and stuff, so that would work.
Yeah, it works. It works very well with that ambush piece of it, especially because that blue leader, on your 6 research turn, you could play that damn thing. Bounty Hunter's Query, you can ambush that thing out and kill something in space or in on the ground. And so, they're definitely not going to be like. I think that's actually probably one of the best cards in the set so far. Is that blue leader? I love that card so much.
Yeah,
I will definitely be playing that card. The set, but other than that, I would dump some of the ramp, and I would put Bounty Hunter's Query in here. Is what I would do. 100%. That's what I would do because that's going to help you with card draw. Yeah, I think that helps you with card draw. You could be spicy and put Cobb Vanth in there, but I mean you have a lot of 2 drops. you have enough true drops that in fairness it does work, right?
Yeah.
But all right, well let's move on to the next deck. We've got, I don't know why you called it this, so hopefully you can explain what proto means to us, Alex.
Do you not know what the prefix proto means? Like prototype? Like it just means like the first iteration of.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was something really cool. Like this was like some underground Star Wars character I didn't know about. But no, you disappointed me again. You disappointed me, Alex.
It's like saying alpha, like it's just a prototype.
Wow. I already feel embarrassed for it. I like the name of my deck for you better than this one.
It's okay. You could just cut out my entire explanation. They'll never see it coming and make me look stupid.
All right, tell us about your Boba deck because Boba's a hot mess right now.
So I took the red Boba leader and just a yellow base. So this deck has double confiscate, triple daring raid, triple of the first order stormtrooper, double of the first legion snowtrooper, triple tie bomber, double no good to me dead, triple Zygarian starhopper, double mist hunter, triple dark raid, triple the 3-cost Boba unit, triple the 4-cost Dangar unit pilot, triple of the hunting aggressor, that's the one that bumps up the indirect damage each one you do by 1, triple the 4-cost Fett's fire spray, double IG-2000, double of the Boba pilot, double IG-88 pilot, triple Fett's fire spray, the 6-cost one, double planetary bombardment, triple ruthless raider, and double of the red devastator. In the side, I got 2 swoop down, triple waylay, triple cell block guard, and double no disintegrations. So Boba, as a leader, is anytime you deal non-combat damage, you can exhaust him and deal like 1 indirect damage to the player. So things like daring raid does damage, and that's non-combat damage, so you could trigger Boba off of that. Same with all the indirect damage, then which this deck mostly focuses on, and then things like Boba units on attack effect, and like the Ruthless Raider coming in and doing 2 damage, or like the Devastator, or Boba Pilot, or Boba Leader. When they get into the vehicle, they do damage to other vehicles, and that's non-combat damage. So it gets really nasty. And this is mostly just all about doling out indirect damage and then punishing them for putting it on their units.
Yeah, put it on your unit, baby.
And then the Devastator shows up, and you're just like, I put all the indirect damage wherever I want now. So now I just wipe out your entire row of units. So that's what this deck does. It seems kind of silly. And I like actually having like Dengar, IG-88, and Boba have the option of being on the ground, especially IG-88, because if anyone has any indirect damage, or any unit is damaged, it becomes a 7/5, which is mostly one-shots all the leaders.
Yeah,
and that's huge.
Yeah, I think on my side, I think the only thing I would ask is, why do I not have Boba Fett's armor? Like, you got enough damn Boba Fett units, you're gonna get it off.
I'm not putting the Boba Fett leader like on the ground.
But if you have,
ideally.
why not? What if you have Boba Fett's armor? It works out great.
What if he gets ejected?
You're right. What if I get ejected? I never liked Boba Fett's armor, even when I'm playing Boba Fett decks. Originally, the first pass, I had Boba Fett's armor, and then I'm like, this is useless. Why would I play this? I'd rather play literally anything else.
Well, does Boba Fett's armor stop indirect damage?
No,
or is it going to buy it? Or is it, okay. So let's say you have to do 3 indirect damage. Boba Fett's armor, you say, I'm going to put all 3 here. Does it prevent 2 out of those 3?
No, you just take all 3.
Okay. Well, then it's a little bit less go.
Yeah, it doesn't, sadly, doesn't work that way. But also, you get like a bunch of little, one, the First Legion snowtroopers punish people for taking indirect damage on their units, which you're going to have to, because this thing pumps that out a lot, and if you don't, you just win by like turn 4. But there's a lot of like incidental synergies with the ships that you take, like the Dengar. He works with the underworld ships, and Boba works with transports. So the hunting aggressor is both an underworld and a transport, and so is both Fett's fire sprays and the Mist Hunter. So like it's just like a bunch of like incidental kind of synergy between all the transports and the underworld stuff and all that. And then also like the capital ships being the Ruthless Raider and the Devastator works for planetary bombardment if you really want to just dole out 12 damage. Yeah. But it gets really nasty too with the hunting aggressors with Boba's ability, because then it's like 2 indirect damage. And it's like each instance of indirect damage gets +1. So like you do indirect damage with TIE Bomber, that's like 4, and then you could trigger Boba's ability and do 2 more. So you're like doubling up on something that's like 1.
Yeah, I do actually wonder if you even need those Devastators in there. Maybe those go to the sideboard and you I don't know,
dark raid them on 6 resources.
Yeah, true.
And then just come in, just do 4 damage to wipe off all their units at 1 health, because they're putting all the indirect damage on there, because that's all this deck is. And then swing in for 9. But like any like weird thoughts other than, why don't you have Boba's armor, you cretin?
Yeah, that drives me nuts. But yeah, I'm not like, I'm also, I guess I did not know that the daring raids actually did what you said. Like that makes those a little bit more.
Yeah, they're not combat damage.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit more crazy, to be honest with you. And you don't have a lot of Sentinel either, but I don't know. Like, I don't think it matters as much. Like, if you look at the Jangos of the world, I don't know really if it matters. You don't have any lurking TIE Phantoms, which I guess makes sense because you're not building an Imperial build, but it's just weird not seeing those stupid things sitting in there.
Everyone around me plays Blue Hero. Those things just die immediately.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like the sideboard is mostly like, oh, they're going really heavy into ground, so that's why it's got the waylays, the cell block guards, and the swoop downs or whatever. But also, like, again, like Boba Fett, Dengar, and IG-88 are not bad units
No, they're not.
for ground. So I tried to keep it a little bit balanced. Also, that IG-2000 is just so nasty when everyone just puts all their indirect damage on their units and you just drop it down and kill 3 units. Could just do 1 damage to each of them. Which is also not combat damage, so it triggers Boba Fett's ability.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Trinity, Sam, y'all quiet? You
Yeah.
gonna play this?
They haven't
Are
seen
you-
an
are you
Alice deck
scared?
before.
I am scared, and I would consider open fire in the sideboard. Swoop down is really good, and no disintegrations is also really good. Waylay has its uses, and so does cell block. I feel like the only thing that I'm a little iffy about is First Legion Snowtrooper, but I guess if it autos pinging damage with indirect damage, then you're damaging it, and then you get the buffs almost no matter what. So it is a good turn 1 drop, which is not something I've thought about before.
Yeah, just punish for putting indirect damage on units.
Yeah.
Mhm. Frozen in Carbonite.
Yeah. I almost actually like that Frozen in Carbonite better than the disintegrations. And so
Yeah.
The nose disintegrations is more of like, oh, they dropped something massive. I'm going to play no disintegrations, then kill him with Daring Raid. Whatever they drop. Great Dragon, Devastator, doesn't matter. Drop it down to 1 health, then you kill it with a ping.
fair enough.
Or like, no disintegrations, drop IG-2000, or no disintegrations, play Boba Pilot or Boba Leader.
That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah, it's really good.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to Trinity's deck because it's Phasmatastic, and I love me some Phasma. Actually, and if you had not picked this leader, this is actually who I would have picked. And some of it's my destiny, and some of it's because the last worlds I played First Order. So I just love me some First Order. I do like me some First Order. I'm sad for X, but why don't you tell us what your deck is and what you're trying to do?
So we do have the ECL base just because why not? I'm actually gonna pull up the other list because I cannot see a thing on it.
She has trouble seeing the names when they're.
Yeah.
she's
They're
just
also
pulling up the
all
swoop
new,
wheel.
right? So
Yeah, so
that
it's like-
doesn't help.
So we have 3 of the First Order Stormtroopers, which I really like the art of. I think it's really cool. We have General Pride. We have 3 of those. General Hux, also 3 of those. 3 Super Laser Techs. 3 of the Phasma unit. Also 3 Kylo Rens. 3 First Order TIE Fighters, which I think they're super cool also. And then I'm totally gonna butcher the next name, but 3 Kajimi Patrollers, possibly?
I believe that's right.
I believe.
JJ's our resident.
Yeah, Kajimi Patrollers. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We also have 3 Kylo's TIE Silencers, 3 Special Forces TIE Fighters, 3 TIE Bombers, 3 Resupply Carriers, 3 Finalizers, then we have 3 Timelies, 3 No Disintegrations, 3 Resupplies, 2 Planetary Bombardments, and then for the sideboard we have the 3 of the Phase 3 Dark Troopers, 1 extra Planetary Bombardment, and then we just have 3 Snokes out of Aspect, and then also 3 Relentless. So it's mostly just unit flooding to try to get her ping to go off. And then you're meant to ECL in her unit. But I do notice that there's a lot of ramp, so I don't know if that's actually needed. But other than that, I am way open to a lot of what's the word I'm thinking of?
Suggestions.
Yeah, suggestions.
Well, the one thing I would definitely recommend, since you do have quite a few cheap units out there, is probably putting in the Darth Vader ground unit there, just so when you ambush them in, you can also bring in a few of these low cost like TIE fighters in there as well. That would be probably a decent addition on there. Beyond that, I mean, I do like the low cost barrier for this. Just being able to spam a lot of low cost units really helps out a lot with Phasma, and the ECL on there to get some of these units out in a hurry would be really well. Although it's not a first order unit, definitely I would consider also a Ruthless Raider as part of your main. Just having that extra damage when it gets deployed is really good for you to soften up a target for then some of your other units to go in and be able to either finish it off or just go straight into the base if you're able to kill it with the Ruthless Raider. That would be my only suggestion for this.
Yeah, I would say like I think the goal is like you have so many low drops. I don't know if you need that much ramp, and then you have finalizer. And I know it's a first order ship. I'm just gonna tell you like you can play Devastator for one cheaper, a million things better. Like I guess we will see. But the problem with I think finalizer is if you don't have a bunch of space units, it can't capture a bunch of space units. And so like that's like the downside to that stupid card is it doesn't do anything if you don't have a board presence. Like I don't think that ship can capture every space unit, can it?
No,
I
it just
believe so.
lets you. Well, it lets as many
Other ones.
number of friendly units you have.
Yeah.
And they capture a unit in the same arena, a non-leader unit in the same arena.
Yeah.
Just can't capture leaders.
Yeah,
But
so
it is also a giant 11-11, and I can respect that.
It is, but you could play. I don't know. Personal opinion, I would not play. That's just me. Like that would not be. I guess you could bring it out technically if as long as you have Hux on the field, you could bring that out for. Is it Hux or the other one? Whatever one of the stupid admirals is, you can bring it out cheaper.
You're thinking of Piet?
No, that's ambushing. No, who's the one? No, there's one that allows you to bring the first order out one cost cheaper.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that is Hux. Yeah.
Hux
Yeah.
allows you to draw a card if you
Yeah.
played a first order card.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything lets you play first
okay.
order for cheaper.
Lance
But
is
also,
better.
you have like resupply carrier, super laser attacks, and resupply. So like you're ramping. My only thing is that you have so many low cost units that what are you ramping to? Like you just need some bigger units, like reinforcement walkers or something, or Palpatines or something. Some payoff for all the ramp you're doing, other than like triple finalizer, which is still fine. It's like a giant 11-11 is just really hard to deal with by and large, but something to ramp up to, like maybe cut the planetary bombardments for again like Palpatine or something, right? Like something that just something big where they're just like, oh, this isn't good, or like JJ said, like a Vader or a Maul or something wild like that. Just have to have some sort of payoff for the ramp.
yeah, I think that'd be definitely a lot more worth it than just having half to a quarter just being full ramp.
Yeah, because it goes from Kylo to finalizer from
Yeah.
6 to
From 6 to 11.
cost.
Yeah.
Like even like main decking the relentless
Hmm.
is worth it.
It's true.
Yeah, especially because now we're with us being in the a heavier mode. If you get to relentless, they're going to be able to try to kill your ships, and so like being able to utilize that works really, really well. I don't know, it's a neat little deck. I think it's a great start, and I think it's like something that we can, you can build on, towards whatever you want. You just gotta drop finalizers. No more finalizers.
We're huge fans of Devastators.
Yeah. You're talking to two Palp players here, so that's the problem. Is you're talking to people that play like Palp control and Palp red of all things too. So.
But also like the finalizers are first order, and it fits with the rest of the first order synergy there. I get it. But Devastator's so cool. It just shows up and blows something out of space.
Yeah. Like, honestly, for me, like finalizer, if we eventually get something in the first order that allows you to deploy like first order TIE fighter tokens, for instance, then at that point, you're probably can set that up easier. So that way your tokens can then take units when you deploy the finalizer on there. But without having that guarantee of having that big spread of your units around that time, it's hard for finalizer to be effective when you deploy it on there. So yeah, I think at this point probably just a sideboard piece, and probably subbing it in for some of the other cards that we mentioned might be a better choice for that, just to get a little more efficiency out of the deck when you're playing it. So yeah.
All right, well, JJ, you are the last one with your Chiss invasion here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got double blue Grand Admiral Thrawn on here. I went through several iterations of this particular list just because I had a couple of cards that I wanted in here that didn't make the cut, but I'll go over the list first here. So we got 3 copies of Roger Roger, 3 Onyx Squadron Brutes, 3 Distant Patrollers, 2 copies of Mahdi, 2 Desperate Commandos, 2 Director Krennics, 3 Clients, 3 Battle Droid Escorts, 3 Calculating Magnet Guards, 3 Morgan Elsbeths, 3 Vigilances, 3 Felder Dragons, 3 copies of Second Chance, 3 of the Shuttles, 3 Chimeras, 3 Fleet Interdictors, 3 Providence Destroyers, 2 copies of that, 2 copies of the Avenger, and 2 Battle Droid Legions on there. And then on the sideboard, 1 additional copy each of Avenger, Legions, Providence, Fleet Interdictor, and 3 race stocks there in the board. So essentially what I wanted to do with this list is just have quite a bit of control, but also have a good amount of units that I can spread on both sides of the board there. I have almost an equal amount of ground units and space units in here, just so I can adjust to wherever I need to on there. Having the Vigilances and the Felder Dragons on there are a big boost just to keep my health up early. Also mill if I need to my opponent's deck, and then of course deal with big threats as they come in. Thrawn's ability pretty much triggers with the majority of these on here. Originally, I wanted to also include Brutal Traditions as an upgrade on this as well, since I'm going to have a lot of units that die, and I can constantly pull that out from my discard. But I felt if I'm going to do that, I might end up just stalling my momentum. The other thing I wanted to have on here is Top Target as well, but again, just felt like there are more cards I can main deck here for this. But I have a decent amount of healing between the Client and Morgan Elsbeth and Vigilance to help keep my health up high. And then I have a lot of different abilities to either deploy shields, to play these units a little cheaper with Krennic, being able to give negative buffs with like Desperate Commandos, and re-ready some of these units with Admiral Mahdi. There's just a lot of different interactions that you can put on here, and hopefully just deal with a lot of damage over time and just outlast your opponents.
So I would say the first thing is I would dump those Battle Droid Escorts immediately.
Well, the only reason I kept them on there, and I did consider to drop them, is because when you play them, you're also deploying a token, and that helps me exploit the Battle Droid Legions and play them a little cheaper. And if I'm using Thrawn for that, now I have 2 tokens that I can deploy, and now I'm paying 5 for the Battle Droid, the Legions. So that gets that big unit out on the board a little bit faster. So that's mainly the main reason I have the Battle Droid Legions or the Escorts on there, is to lead up to that point.
Also, it works well with Morgan Elsbeth, which I actually just super love in this deck. I think that's a really good pick there, just because you get the if your opponent's not killing your own stuff, you might as well do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like that. It's tragic to me that there's no Vals in here, because you can just double experience, and they only do 3 damage.
Yeah,
and only 2 Mahdi's also hurts me too.
Yeah. So I really was like on the bench on putting Val in there. But I just felt that having some more capital ships on the board felt a little bit better for it. But Val was definitely one of the choices that I wanted to put on there. I almost just dropped the restocks in favor for like having Val on my sideboard. But yeah.
Why not drop the Roger Rogers for Val?
Mainly because you can deploy them onto tokens, and they just help them do
Oh my
damage.
god.
before they
Okay.
die. Yeah.
All right. I don't. There's a change, JJ. Dump the battle. I still don't like those battle. I still don't like you guys' explanation. I mean, you don't have any Chilsons in here. You have almost a full blue deck and no Chilsons.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
I would actually dump the Battle Droid Legions, period. Though they're OP all art cards look pretty sweet, and I've never played them. So like, it'd be kind of cool to put those on the table because I have like 3 foils of those, but I don't know. I'm not sold on that.
You definitely need Jilsons here, and 3-second chance might be a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
Probably just 2, because they do cost 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. My thing would be, I would put Chilsons in here in a heartbeat, and I would immediately get rid of those Roger Rogers for Vals. So even if you don't put Val down on the first churn, I don't know. I don't like your distant patrollers either, though. I hate those ships so much. I hate those more than your Roger Rogers. How about that?
So those are mid-game pieces, right? Those are for when I need to like protect an asset for a little bit longer. Just being able to throw on that and to give out 2 shields, I think that's a worthy inclusion for that. So
It'd be really good if you had Jilsons.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. That one I'll approve of.
Sam and Trent, do you have any notes?
I definitely think that the Chiltons are needed.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I actually kind of like the battle droids. I don't see them ran very often, so that might be why. But I like battle droids anyway. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that you could use with some merciless contests. Kill something of yours, claim the bounty, or not the bounty, the win defeated twice, and then kill something of theirs, or I don't know. I just feel like that's the main thing you're missing. The Battle Droid Legions, at that point, I would just sub in the extra Avenger from your sideboard, and then you only have 6 cards in your sideboard, so because you still have 3 open spots in your sideboard as of right now. So I would just fill those up with something like Val for sure. That's really good because you do I think it's 2 or 3 damage. I'm not precisely sure.
It's 3 damage, but you can double claim the 2 experience tokens first.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's really good. But I mean, other than that, I would just say a little more removal, fill up the sideboard, Shelton's course, and Merciless Contest is ominously a card that I've looked. As soon as I saw this leader, it's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
worst
that's
comes to
actually-
worst, you just do it with a battle droid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. I never thought about that. The Merciless Contest, actually. That's probably like better in this deck. I'm not sold on the Moddies either, personally. Like, I know everybody is, but I'm
Bodies,
just
when you
not.
have a way of actually killing them, like JJ's deck does, seems pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
You put a Moddie down, I'm just gonna kill it. You know that, right? Like,
That's his whole purpose. Then I'm just readying one of my units.
unless you have no other effing
Yes.
unit.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm not
It's
playing
basically
body.
a sentinel. Yeah, it's basically a sentinel.
Like I'm exhausted. Like I'm swinging in with like an Avenger or something, and then I'm dropping the Mahdi. Please kill it. If you don't, I'm going to Merciless Contest it, or
Exactly.
Morgan Elsbeth it, or whatever I need to do. Exploit it out for something.
I also think having a third Krennic is really good. I think Krennic is actually a little bit better than we gave him credit for originally. And maybe that's just, maybe you swap out one of the second chances for another Krennic. I think 3 Krennics. You don't have any removal really in here. So Merciless Contest almost actually becomes very imperative, I think. And that could be very good, especially if they have like 3 upgraded ships. Like, what are they gonna do? They gotta kill one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you though, Sam. Actually, I think that's a really good call. Merciless Contest really good card.
Yeah.
Deck. Never thought about that. So I like also how you have an absence of power of the dark sides too. Like there's no power of the dark sides. You just like, we're just gonna run without that card. We're gonna pretend that card doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, like for me, it was like either Fell the Dragon, which can guarantee me that I'm defeating a high powered like card, or if my opponent happens to have a lot of different units out there and they can choose something lesser, they get the choice for that. Sure, I can engineer opportunities where I can target that specific unit, but I rather not have to like finagle my way to force that decision, and then just choose, instead of me having the ability to just choose a high power unit and say, you know what, I'm going to kill this unit with Fell the Dragon, is done. You know,
I guess. I think the other thing you got to be careful of, you don't have anything that kills leaders. I don't think you don't have super laser blast. Yeah, you don't have super laser blast in here. I don't know. We're getting tight on all these cards now, so now it's becoming a bigger question of what the meta is actually.
Vigilance can kill a leader if they're 3 or less health.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if they're 3 or less health. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. This was actually a fun segment. I enjoy deck building, even if I'm not that good at it. I like